All right, we're back with more Lizardmen content. We're going to take a look at the heroes of the Lizardmen and see what their current state is. I'm not sure how much of this is a change because I'm unfamiliar with the way that the Lizardmen used to be. But I've got some heroes up to some decent levels to use. I want to talk about some of the options and some of the abilities they have. I want to start actually with, where is he? Actually, he might be dead. I had a hero. So we'll use this guy. I have a hero. It's pretty high level, but I think he's currently residing in the where are they now dead pile. Yeah, Ratok, because he has one of those items on that kills you every now and then, so that's kind of unhelpful. So we're going to take a look at this Skink Priest of Heavens, which is basically what Ratok is. Ratok is what you start with. This is one of the two mages that you can get easily from the Lizardmen. You're going to get a Heavens or you're going to get a Beast mage, and I think the Heavens is definitely the better one. Because although Flock of Doom is cheap and helpful, Uranan's Thunderbolt and Wind Blast play very well into the Lizardmen capability, which is to use a staunch front line to hold the enemy in place while you smack them with your magic. Of course, you get Commodore Cassandora. This is all just magic stuff that everybody knows. These are where your options begin that are unique to the Lizardmen, and you're going to want to pick the one that best benefits you in the campaign you're in. Now, when you're playing as Krokgar, it's probably going to be Quetzal, because you're going to have the upkeep on Saurus Infantry and Temple Guard. Now, you're going to lock out everything else you have. What are your other options? So, hit points and flaming attacks, I don't think you're going to take that one, because you're not going to get in a fight, and flame resistance, fire resistance is pretty big later on. Upkeep for flying units, so there's maybe a tic-tac-toe choice. This one here, ambush defense chance and diplomatic relations with dark elves. I don't know. Maybe that's the one you're going to use if you're fighting a lot of Skaven. I'm not really sure. And then double experience fighting against dark elves, so maybe Mazda Mundi. Here we've got control in the local province and wound recovery time. I don't really think that one is good for anybody. And then minor blessing of Vitzel, upkeep for the big beast. So that's going to save you a lot if you have a large army. You get a Pterodon, a Stegodon, an Ancient Stegodon, and then a Stegodon with an Engine of the Gods. I think you want to go with Pterodon in the vast majority of cases, because being able to fly around and cast spells is always a massive advantage. These, you want to stay away from that because it's going to make you large and vulnerable to enemy ranged. But the Ancient Stegodon, of course, is lovely because you get the Ancient Stegodon a magic attack. That's that long, wide, broad area that will just devastate an enemy line of infantry. So depending on what you're doing, one of these, you could even, remember, swap the mount before a battle, before you go in as needed. So then let's go ahead down here and get this fella. So Trap Top Start grabbed this guy right off the bat in this Krokgar campaign, and you can see that he's benefiting from some pretty good items. So a lot of this stuff, we want to take those off to take a look at his. All right, so melee attack and melee defense, really pretty good. Weapon strength is really pretty good. Remember, this is all unadorned. A cold one, a Carnosaur. Again, this is your personal preference. I like them to be really fast, so on these mounts, they're going to be really fast. If you take him off, his speed goes from 86 down to 39. That 86 speed is really fantastic. So you can use a hero like this to move through the enemy and target whatever you want. Maybe their artillery, maybe their leader. Put weapons on him, rotate those through to get what you need. He's also going to have the same choices that the Skink Priest has, and I'm going to go ahead and take this if I'm playing with Krokgar. This is terrific right here. Control in all provinces and ward save. The Lizardmen, excuse me, they don't have the best control at the beginning. I did actually have a revolt, but you have a hard time getting that from the buildings, because the only real way to get it is this, and it's got no other benefits other than control. But you can see here that control comes with the buildings that you have here, so you're going to get two as you go up this tree here. But having that extra control faction-wide really did help out quite a bit. Okay, let's go back to where we were. I shouldn't have done that. So they're not special, they're not spectacular, they don't have major abilities, but they are pretty durable, and those mounts give them a lot of speed. So what do we have here? Armor and replenishment rate for the character, so you can feel good about putting him in a fight with somebody because he's going to heal relatively quickly. Then you're going to get him frenzy, and this one here, melee attack and leadership within a 35-meter range. If he's operating on his own, it's not going to benefit too many people, but remember those benefits do add to him because he's inside his own aura. Then you've got resilience, vigor loss reduction, leadership size. That's not as great as when you get to this one here. Adding recruit rank and missile resistance for your core units. So I think that's decent. I don't think these are the best heroes in the game. They're not on par with the excellent units that the Empire has, for example. I don't think they were improved nearly as much as Empire units. That says another Skink Chief. Right. Okay, Skink Chief, yeah. This is the range. This is like their version of the Witch Hunter from the Empire. This is their version of Waystalkers and Glade Guard, because it's a ranged unit. The range isn't great. The ammunition and the missile strength is pretty good. So it is a good unit to snipe an enemy leader with. It is the source of the replenishment rather than the training. It has the same lockout choices in here, and then it has a lot of the same things that you'll find elsewhere in other people's trees. Stalking and speed. Not the greatest of heroes in terms of what this has to offer. You can, of course, again, Pterodon, Stegodon, Ancient Stegodon, but no Engine of the Gods or Revivification Crystal. So I think the Skink Chief is good to get a tanky sniping unit, but it's not a great hero. These abilities here, armor and leadership size, who cares? Melee defense and bonus versus large, I guess that helps because he's not really made to go into combat. This one here, restock, that's probably the best, although you're not really talking about using a lot of ranged for the Lizardmen like you are other factions. It does boost the range of skinks, okay. And then down here, unit mass and charge defense for versus large for skink units. I mean, I guess that does turn skinks into something that can repel a charge, but I mean, I guess if you this is a good one to bring around with Teheno, and if you're using a lot of skinks. So I don't think those heroes themselves are necessarily that good. I think the cadre of heroes are not particularly strong for the Lizardmen. Now I do want to find the one guy I have. There we go, Skink Oracle. I think this is the higher tier hero of the set. I think it is definitely the best one. Hang on a sec. I think he does have all these same choices, but the fact that he's got a good, some of the best options in his mixed magic tree. You've got Earthblood, so you've got healing that doesn't require you to have a Slan Mage. You've got Flock of Doom and Windblast to take out chaff infantry. You've got Life Bloom to heal the whole army while you're in the throes of throwing out all your other spells. And then you've got the magicals. You've got all the typical magic boosters here. Then you've got this unique line that they have here. So he's got range, he's got ammunition, he's got decent weapon strength and missile strength. He's sort of an upgraded version of all the other leaders at the same time. So let's take a look at these unique lines. So you got these combat lines here, which are pretty normal. for a ranged unit. You get the Primeval Roar, which is going to give melee attack to him, and in a 35-meter radius, which is really pretty darn good. 24 melee attack can help your units to mow down whoever they're fighting. And then we've got down here Swiftness of Itzel, which provides a speed bonus, which would allow him to use his pretty good speed to begin with, because he's on a mount by default. I don't think it shows it. I think he's pretty fast. Speed of 75, he's going to go even faster. So that's going to allow him to chase somebody down or get away, for example. And then finally, this line here, we've got campaign movement range plus 20%. That's for him. I don't believe that benefits the army itself. I'm really not sure. Then you've got this one, line of sight, an ambush defense chance for the army. That's good if you're fighting Skaven. And then you've got missile block chance and barrier. A lot of barrier in the beast, the Lizardmen these days. And finally, enemy winds of magic and winds of magic cost for all spells. I think he's definitely the best option of the heroes available, but none of the heroes are particularly great. I think the best use of them is going to be for the beast magic and the healing for this guy, sniping out enemy lords and heroes, and tanking for the Saurus Oldblood. And I think definitely you're going to want to lean into the ability of the Skink Priests, heavens-wise, to use their damage output. Here you've got a bound Comet of Cassandora, which, I mean, come on, who doesn't want one of those? So a decent set of heroes, definitely not up to the gold standard, which I think is going to be the Empire heroes, but definitely worth exploiting and recruiting as quickly as possible.